Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The appointed hour having arrived and a quorum being present, I'll now call the special town meeting to order. I'll ask the town clerk to come forward to read the warning and the return.
To either of the constables of the town of Freetown, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth, you are hereby required to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Freetown who are qualified to vote in the elections and town affairs to meet at Apponequet Regional High School, Robert C. Falcon Auditorium, 100 Howland Road, Lakeville, Massachusetts, on Monday, the 26th day of January, 2026 at 6 p.m. Then and there to act on the following articles, viz. Warrant for the special town meeting, Town of Freetown, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Monday, January 26, 2026, 6 p.m., Apponequet Regional High School, Robert C. Falcon Auditorium. And you are hereby directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof at the following places: the Apponequet Post Office, the East Freetown Post Office, Junior's Convenience Store in Apponequet, the Freetown Town Hall, Freetown Communication Center, and Freetown Fire Rescue Station Number 3. Hereof fail not, and make return of the original warrant with your doings thereon immediately after making service thereof to the town clerk of the town of Freetown, Massachusetts, given under our hands and seal of the town of Freetown this 5th day of January, Anno Domini 2026. Signed Trevor R. Matthews, Jared C. Zager, Carlos A. Lopes, Board of Selectmen. Return of service, January 8th, 2026. To the town clerk, town of Freetown, Massachusetts, I have this day posted attested copies of this warrant in the designated place described herein. In Apponequet, the Apponequet Post Office, Junior's Convenience Store, and the Freetown Town Hall. In East Freetown, the East Freetown Post Office, Fire Station Number 3, and the Freetown Communication Center. The VFW Post Number 6643, Chemna Equipment Incorporated, Oliveira Brothers Materials Incorporated. Signed, Scott M. Rose, Constable. Notice of recess and continuance. Special town meeting, January 26, 2026. In accordance with the provisions of the Mass General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 10A, and after consultation with the town's public safety officers, the Board of Selectmen, and the town administrator, I hereby declare that the impending weather storms and low temperatures forecasted for Sunday, January 25th, 2026, and Monday, January 26th, 2026, have the potential to disrupt the special town meeting scheduled for Monday, January 26th, 2026, by impeding travel to and from said meeting or otherwise keeping voters from attending. Therefore, the special town meeting scheduled for Monday, January 26, 2026, at 6 p.m. at the Apponequet Regional High School is hereby recessed and continued to Monday, February 2nd, 2026, at 6:30 p.m. at the Apponequet Regional High School, given under my hand and seal of the town of Freetown this 22nd day of January, 2026, at 11:20 a.m. Signed, Michael T. McHugh, Town of Freetown Moderator. Return of service, January 23rd, 2026. To the town clerk, town of Freetown, Massachusetts, I have this day posted attested copies of this warrant in the designated places described herein. In Apponequet, the Apponequet Post Office, Junior's Convenience Store, and the Freetown Town Hall. In East Freetown, the East Freetown Post Office, Fire Station Number 3, and the Freetown Communication Center. Chemnut, Oliveira Brothers, the VFW, and Apponequet Regional High School. Signed, Scott Rose, Constable.
So if you're here for the town meeting, you're in the right place. Just before we begin, if you have a cell phone, please set it to silent. Just a reminder, if you wish to speak, there is a microphone down there. You'll want to come up to the microphone, give us your name and at least what side of town you live on. If you're coming up for the first time, if you have the vote papers, please have that with you so that we can see you're a voter. Also, this is a win for democracy, but a loss in our continuing saga of the clickers. The number of people who have come tonight has exceeded the number of clickers that were available to hand out. So we will not be using the clickers. Someday we will use the clickers. Last but not least, all articles tonight will be funded from free cash unless otherwise specified. There are 2 articles that will be funded through retained earnings in the Water Sewer Enterprise Fund. There are a few articles that don't require funding at all. With that, I will move on to Article 1, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $35,000 to supply and install a fence for the Freetown Elementary School preschool area and repair the gate on the Memorial Drive side of the property, including any incidental costs and expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee does not recommend this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 1 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 1? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 1 is adopted unanimously. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $34,000 for the purpose of supporting and supplementing grant funds to purchase and equip an all-terrain vehicle for the police department, including any incidental costs and expenses, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 2 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 2? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 2 is adopted unanimously. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $3,550 to allow the completion of land survey work at the Quaker Hill Cemetery, including any incidental costs and expenses, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Cemetery Commission. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 3 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 3? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 3 is adopted unanimously. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $12,500 for the purpose of upgrading the communication department's backup radio communication system, including any incidental costs and expenses, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the police chief. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 4 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 4? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 4 is adopted unanimously. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $19,300 for the purpose of contracting with a firm to conduct a review of and make recommendations for updates to the town subdivision and stormwater management rules and regulations, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Planning Board. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 5 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 5? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 5 is adopted unanimously. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $6,043.45 to the listed department accounts to pay prior year invoices as follows, and/or take any action relative thereto. To the Board of Health for Riverhawk Environmental, $1,843.75. To the Board of Health for the Greater New Bedford Regional Refuse Management District, $973.62. For the Animal Control Officer to Interstate Batteries, $252.95. To the Water and Sewer Commission for Eversource, $761.43. To the Water and Sewer Commission for the Freetown Police Department, $1,283.88. For the Water and Sewer Commission for the City of Fall River, $350. To the Treasurer Tax Collector for the Mass Interlocal Insurance Agency Unemployment Services Program, $577.82. This was submitted by those departments listed. It requires a 9/10 vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 6 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 6? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 6 is adopted unanimously. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $30,000 in the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund for purchasing needed tools and laptops to be funded from the certified retained earnings of the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Water and Sewer Commission. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 7 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 7? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 7 is adopted unanimously. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $1,250,000 for the architectural design, structural engineering, and replacement of the boiler at the Freetown Elementary School, including any incidental costs and expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 8 as read, because who doesn't like heat for children in the winter? Is there any discussion on Article 8? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? Article 8 is adopted unanimously. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $1,170,000 to purchase and equip a new engine for the fire department, including any related or incidental costs and expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the fire chief. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 9 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 9? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? Article 9 is adopted unanimously. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $6,000 to supplement the budget of the tree warden for the fiscal year 2026, said sum to be divided as $2,000 for salary and $4,000 for expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the tree warden. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 10 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 10? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? Article 10 is adopted unanimously. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $100,000 to resurface the driveways and parking areas and to upgrade drainage at Fire Station 2 on County Road, including any and all incidental costs and expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the highway surveyor. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 11 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 11? Hearing none. All in favor? All opposed? Article 11 is adopted unanimously. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to designate from existing highway department funds, the sum of $275,000 for design, engineering, procurement, removal, and installation of the sidewalk from Elm and Water Streets north to 27 North Main Street, including any incidental costs and expenses, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to approve Article 12 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 12? Hearing none, all in favor? No, go ahead, please.
Hi, Paulette Cavallo from Freetown. Does this area have any, with the potential rotary or the potential four-way stop, is it putting the cart before the horse kind of thing?
It's a fair question. So the question is, will this sidewalk be affected at all by the potential of putting the rotary or the four-way stop at that intersection? Is that correct?
To answer your question, no, this will not. It's a replacement of existing sidewalk down to, but not through that four-way intersection. So it's just a simple upgrade to the sidewalk that exists.
You're welcome. Okay. Is there any additional discussion on Article 12? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 12 is adopted unanimously. Article 13, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $50,000 in the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund for engineering services to develop a modification to the town's existing bleeder pits to filter the water flowing through them, to be funded from the certified retained earnings of the Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, including any incidental costs and expenses and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Water and Sewer Commission. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion has been made and seconded to adopt Article 13 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 13? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 13 is adopted unanimously. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to transfer from available funds the sum of $30,000 to supplement the Board of Health budget for the purpose of hiring an engineer to test wells surrounding the transfer station due to DEP-required post-dump closure procedures, including any incidental costs and expenses, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Health. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 14 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 14? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 14 is adopted unanimously. Do you have your little yes/no papers? I meant to ask you that before. Okay. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of the parcel described below from the tax title custodian for tax title purposes to the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of disposition by sale, lease, or otherwise, and further, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to convey to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation for consideration of not less than $36,000 and on such other terms and conditions as the Board deems in the best interest of the town, the fee title to or a lesser interest in the parcel of land situated in a sonnet easterly from Joshua's Mountain, otherwise known as Profile Rock, shown on Assessor's Map 210 as Lot 108, and acquired by foreclosure and tax lien case, recorded with the Bristol Fall River Registry of Deeds in Book 11508, page 314. And further, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to execute any and all deeds, affidavits, and other documents as may be appropriate to effectuate the foregoing and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Treasurer Tax Collector. It requires a 2/3 vote. The Finance Committee now recommends this article. They have changed their recommendation since the time when the warrant was printed. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 15 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 15? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 15 is adopted unanimously. We're about halfway through. The ayes are getting a little quieter. A little bit of enthusiasm is dipping. I know you're all waiting for what's coming. You thought you fooled us. We know you're all here for one thing. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of a parcel of land shown on Assessor's Map 211 as Lot 35 and acquired by foreclosure and tax lien case recorded with the Bristol Fall River Registry of Deeds in Book 11370, page 210. From the tax title custodian for tax title purposes to the Conservation Commission for open space and conservation purposes pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 8C, and subject to the protections of Article 97 of the amendments to the Massachusetts Constitution, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Conservation Commission. It requires a 2/3 vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 16 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 16? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 16 is adopted unanimously. I don't really feel like anybody's here for Article 17. Article 17. To see if the town will vote to amend the Freetown zoning bylaws and zoning map to create and regulate a new overlay district, being the MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District, MCMOD. All is set forth in and depicted on the document entitled MBTA Communities Multifamily Overlay District, MCMOD, Zoning Bylaw and Map Amendments, on file in the office of the Town Clerk and the Planning Board, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Planning Board. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. The Planning Board will now give an opinion on the article, hopefully.
All right, if there's planning board, you can more than welcome to join me up here. If not, let's get to it, folks. I know you're all here. You all want to talk about this article?
Hold on.
I will. I'll wait for him.
No, well, we have to have a motion first,
Oh,
too.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you. A motion is made and seconded to adopt as read. Then the Planning Board will speak, and then pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Nancy, please, or Chad, whomever. You want to go, Collins?
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Carlos Lopes. I am your town selectman. Behind me is our planning board. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Say hello.
Chairman of the Planning Board, Chad Cavallo.
Hi, Nancy Durfee, Town Planner.
All right. So a lot of you are asking why we're here again, right, for the third time. Well, let's get some of those things out of the way. All right. So we're here for the third time because of the Milton ruling at the Supreme Court. All right, the baseline law was
Carlos,
constitutional.
excuse me 1 second. Council's reminding me the planning board has to give the recommendation before we can talk
I'm breaking
any
the
further.
laws.
No, that's okay.
The planning board does recommend. I guess.
I think it's on now. Sure.
Location so that they can use the majority vote?
The question is, has the planning board declared this an eligible location so that you can use a majority vote?
We have.
Okay. So some of you may note, typically zoning requires a 2/3 vote. The threshold for this, the state has amended to a majority vote, and that's a technical thing that they were just discussing. So, now, keep going.
All right.
Mr. Moderator, can you ask them to turn up the microphone? We cannot hear that.
You got it.
Nope.
Can anybody hear me in the back? All right. All right, folks. Good evening. And thank you for being here at town meeting. It's the best thing about government, getting you guys out here and voting. All right, so why are we here? Well, state law, the Supreme Court litigated a case, the most recent one, Milton. They changed, the constitutional law is there, and they had to amend a few items. Because of those amendments, we have to vote on those. So here we are, okay? And so, from the Board of Selectmen's perspective, whatever we vote today, yes or no, tomorrow we get to work. It doesn't matter what it is, we'll survive as a town, but let's all decide on the facts, not on some of the things we've heard from just word of mouth, okay? So if we're gonna vote on it, let's vote on it based on the truth and what can happen, all right? Here it is. Fact of the matter is, we don't know what's gonna happen, all right? Let's say we vote no to this, all right? You may have seen a recent article that had 9 towns. We weren't included in that. Well, that's because the AG that's been in contact with our attorneys have been keeping a close eye on what we've been doing here at town meeting, right? So they're keeping an eye on this. There's probably somebody in the audience or someone's gonna relay the information to them. That said, can we expect that we be included tomorrow or in the next couple of days if we say no? Answer is yes. So what does that mean exactly? Well, I've heard a lot of things out there. Well, the only things we know so far is there's a list of grants that they could take away from us. That's, right now, it's all we know. Potentially, if we do say no, or if we vote no, it'll go to court. A magistrate or judge will decide what comes next, right? And then they'll do what they do, right? We don't know. That could be fines. It could be them assigning a moderator or a governor to say, hey, instead of the layouts that we wanted, we're going to tell you to put it here.
Not this moderator. Not.
Right, right. Somebody from the state that comes in and tells us, hey, this is where you're going to put it with or without our approval. We don't know, right? Those are things we've heard via media or other channels. All we know for sure is this. There's a list of grants that will be removed, right, potentially, and possibly they'll fine us. We won't know until we get the notice from the AG's office, but they are watching, all right? So what have we done? Based on the last law, the last change, the 3 of us plus the town administrator got together with the company named Bowler, got a grant for it. We went through all the lots in town, every one of them, all right? The state keeps telling us we want paper compliance. What does that mean? Well, on paper, this is a zoning question. Do we want zoning? Yes or no? Things that we won't change is town bylaws or anything else. So let's say you vote yes, and the developer does come down the road. They still have to follow everything the law does. Will the town pay for sewer and water? No, that is not a problem. That is the developer's problem, not ours, okay? So the town, all they have to do is put an overlay district on current zoning that's really 8-1 right now. In certain sections, they want 16-1, 3 stories based on what we have for equipment, okay? But they still have to follow our bylaws, all right? So other areas of concern are, well, if we say no, what can the state do? Well, that's on everybody's mind, but we just won't know. What we do know is we'll be litigating a case. What that looks like as far as monetary value, who knows? Attorneys cost a lot of money, all right? So they're on standby. They already been in contact with the AG's office multiple times, just waiting to hear the outcome. Again, whatever the vote is, yes or no, the town has your back. The Board of Selectmen will act on that vote, period, all right? No speculation. That's what we're going to do, all right? But our job is to tell you the facts, okay? And the facts of the matter is we look at every lot in town. Where can we put this thing that has a very less likelihood of being developed? The first lot we chose was over near the lumber area and all those, what's it called? Not the warehouses, but storage units. All right? So that area right there has a private railway, and it goes over the highway. So unless they're building a tunnel, giving us a submarine or an aircraft carrier, good luck. The best we can see on that area will be something similar to what we see in Bridgewater, which is like the McDonald's or Burger King area. That's probably a good best case scenario for us as a town. Hopefully it's a Chick-fil-A, because they're delicious. The other area, it's really where Excel sits, okay, in that area. So again, that's a running business. It's inside a neighborhood, a metal scrap business. They would have to sell their business, and then the DEP would have to come in and do a whole lot of mitigation for that to be a feasible thing. Again, can't guarantee you, but as a resident in that area, what would you rather have, a plant or additional homes? So again, those are options. Whatever you decide, we have your back. All right? What questions, hopefully I've answered a lot of the things you've heard out there, right? But what questions do you have? What concerns? Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
So-
You have to go up to the microphone.
Come up to the mic, but for his question, I'll repeat it. How far up does it go up to High Street or Main Street into the forest? Am I correct in that? Okay. And your name is? Just, I'll say it for you. Come on up. Come hang out with us.
Just a reminder, if you do want to ask questions or speak on, you'll have to go up to the microphone, let us know your name and what part of town that you're in.
Hi, my name's Adolf Osnekovich. I'm in East Freetown, Massachusetts.
All right. What's your question, sir?
My question is, how far up is this zone going to extend towards High Street?
Okay. Any way we can put it? All right. His question is, how far up is this zone going to extend up Main Street? Can we put it on the screen, or does everybody have their map in front of them? I just want to give you a nice visual to answer this question properly.
It won't go near High Street.
Well, right, it won't go near High Street. It'll be on North Main Street and off South Main Street in Ridge Hill Road. So where the Excel plant is now, and then up the road near, there you go. So it won't be on High Street. Well, I guess the tail end of it would be High Street in Alexandria, but the majority of it will be on the, if approved, will be on the Excel site. So Excel's right now is Excel into Campanelli Drive, so in that area. Any way we could put it on the television screen?
I don't know.
I'll be fancy enough for that? No?
You would have to get it off of
And
Richard.
the backside's 224.
I lost Tim. Tim would have known the answer to that. No,
High Street would be right
Cheryl's
there.
telling me we can't do that.
No, High Street's back there. So I would say, as it sits now, High Street and Alexandria Drive do abut each other. So is there a scenario that you may see something from High Street? Yes, but there's also a railroad right there that would make it tough for it to go all the way to High Street. So you're at least, I would say, 100, if not 150 yards or more from High Street as far as building. Would you see it? I would say if you can see the containers that are there now, they're 3 stories tall, stacked 3 tall, then you can probably see the back end of an apartment. Keep in mind, if they were to develop there, that would be what? Is it the 17-to-1 or the 16-to-1 on that section? The 16-to-1 scenario with 25% of it being open space. So keep that in mind.
Luann is bringing the much larger
right.
map down.
Dun, dun, dun. Perfect. Listen, folks, here in Freetown, we stick together, and nothing we can't solve with tape. All right. Perfect.
So the town, while the map's getting set up, the town's attorneys have just asked me to remind everybody, to be clear, we're voting on the zoning. There's no particular project that's been proposed at this time.
Correct. And like we said earlier, it's just the overlay to existing zoning as it is now. Nothing changes as far as bylaws. They still have to follow every single rule as you and I would if we were to build anything on some land. But again, it's being operated by the metal scrap business called Excel for that section. The other section, again, you'd have to go over a highway or under a highway or get a private way from a railroad. Good luck with that. The DEP and the state would have to change a lot of laws to make these a reality, especially today. So it'd be years and years, if anything. So keep that in mind. So the map shows, I don't know if anybody can see it, I'm sorry, it's a small map, so the 3 squares, 3 rectangles up top, checkered, that's where Excel is in the adjacent properties. All right, that's a 16-to-1 scenario, which means 16 units per acre, 3 stories high. Again, 25% of that would be recreational. The additional blue area checkered, that's where South Main Street is, where the railroad meets the highway, all in that section. As you can see, the majority of it would have to go through a private railway, all right? And the MBTA, good luck trying to get their approval to use their private railway for dozens of thousands of cars, let's say that, hundreds of cars, all right? Not to mention, right over Route 24 and to the other side. That's why I'm thinking, or we were thinking, that a scenario similar to what the Burger King is in Bridgewater is more likely in that scenario, all right? Because how are you going to get there? How would you, again, that's an active highway, tens of thousands of vehicles per week, right? All right. See a lot of faces. I'm sure there's more questions out there.
Sure, come on down.
Yes, ma'am. Come on down.
Don't be afraid. If you have questions, you don't need to wait for one at a time. Feel free to form a line. There are some empty seats down there. Don't be afraid.
What do you need to know? My name and... Hi, I'm Melissa Ross, and I live in Apponequet. You mentioned that we would be losing grant money, and I was wondering if you could elaborate on what grants we would be losing and the monetary value of those grants that we would be losing.
All right. So her questions are on grants. Which ones will we lose? So EEOHLC, I got the acronym correctly. They have a list of grants that they would be taken away. Like for instance, we would be missing out on Open Streets grant, right? Which is the remodeling and building of sidewalks across town, right? That's a match between the town and the state. If you're concerned about school grants, there has been no talk about school grants or any other highway grants, things of that nature. Right now, it's mostly just what their listing is. When we looked at it months ago, there wasn't very many grants that would be impacting us other than those open street grants, right? So very little money to date. That does not mean that we wouldn't be applying for additional grants in the future. So keep that in mind. There's pros and cons. Honest-based conversation. Let's talk all sides of every question, all right? I want you leaving here and voting, knowing very well you voted correctly. And whatever you vote is the correct way. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Sir?
Hello, my name's David. I'm from, my name's David. I'm from Freetown.
We need first and last name, please.
David Renaud.
Thank you.
The moderator, you mentioned that the state said they waived the requirements for the 2/3 vote to a majority vote.
Correct.
So, I mean, that kind of goes in their favor already, correct?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying they're trying to influence on what you're doing. I know we already had 2 votes on this. It was voted down. We're here to vote on it today. So if this gets voted down again, are we going to be back here in June to vote on it again and again and again?
So that's a good question. That's a question for the selectmen as a board.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have taken a actual vote or stance on that, or if you just want to answer individually.
All right, so his question is, what happens, and is it possible that we're voting for a 4th time for this scenario? 4, 5, 6? The answer is yes, it could be. This is what we know now. Well, not our way. We're here with you. We're working with you.
The state's already trying to influence you about how the 2/3 vote to a majority.
It certainly feels that way in many ways. So I understand that sentiment. So I'm not throwing it out, but it could be. But this is what we do know. Let's say we vote no. More than likely, sometime this week, if not tomorrow, we'll get a letter from the Attorney General saying, you're now my 10th person on the lawsuits that they just came out with, all right? So, okay, so our next step is to fight it, right? Our next step is go to court and litigate it, and it'll be up to the judge. Or possibly, a scenario could be that the AG works with us and say, hey, what if you do this or that? We don't know. The answer is, there's so many things out there that people are trying to scare us with. The answer is, we haven't got that information yet. Tomorrow, if let's say we vote no, tomorrow we may get told, hey, we're going to court, we're part of the other 9, or they give us a scenario or an option that we work with them to make it work, or they can come back and say, well, this is the new zoning, and it could be your backyard. These are all scenarios, and we're waiting for the answer. So great question.
We're going to pause for 1 second. Our attorney would like to say something.
Sure.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Through to the meeting. Just to clarify on this point of the 2/3 versus majority vote, when the legislature enacted the amendment to the Zoning Act to implement MBTA zoning, that legislation specifically talked about a simple majority vote when creating the uses that are specified under the MBTA zoning. So that and that issue and the constitutionality of the law has been litigated litigated all the way up to the Supreme Judicial Court, which is the highest court in Massachusetts. So that has been resolved in favor of the state. The next issue now is, and I heard the question about 3, 4, 5 times coming back before town meeting. We really don't know what's going to happen next. We know that last week a complaint was filed in Superior Court against 9 municipalities in the Commonwealth due to their noncompliance with the 3A MBTA zoning. So right now, Freetown was not included in that litigation because of tonight. And as was indicated, the Attorney General, the Assistant Attorney General, and our office, we've been in extensive communication on this. And specifically, the Attorney General's office is waiting to see what happens tonight. They monitored this extremely closely. They knew about the delay to tonight. They knew about the potential for a delay if we had a storm tonight. So it's almost like they're sitting on our shoulders watching what we're going to do. So ultimately, what we've communicated back to them is this is a decision of town meeting on a night like tonight, and town meeting gets to vote. Their response to that was the filing of this complaint, which broadly seeks injunctive and declaratory judgment relief. We don't know what that's going to be. It wasn't clarified in the litigation. We don't know how they're going to pursue this. But the idea that this will come back to you at another point, we don't know if that will happen. We don't know if there's another remedy they're going to choose to use, but they are not letting up on their pressure in terms of litigation. The litigation has already been filed. Not to scare you, because ultimately it's your decision, but I would fully anticipate that if this is voted down tonight, there'll be an amended complaint, and Freetown will be part of that complaint, and then we're off to the races in terms of litigation. But I just want to clarify, it is a simple majority vote. It's before you tonight. Whether it's going to come back again, we simply can't say, but we are aware that the Attorney General is watching this very carefully, and litigation is already pending against other municipalities that are not in compliance with the law. Thank you.
Denise Lamoureux. I'm in Apponequet. I've been in this town for 50 years, and I've taught at our high school for 25. So I love our town. But I am very concerned about this vote. My son is a resident of Milton. We were speaking yesterday. They voted no. They went to court, and the residents in Milton put in $1 million to try to fight this law. They lost. It came out that this law is constitutional. Now the residents in Milton had to come up with $1 million, and because of that, they didn't have money for their schools. So then they had to do an override for the schools. So their taxes have gone up, and my son was complaining yesterday that they're still going to lay off people. When I see signs that say, vote no, keep Freetown free, I cringe. If we vote no, this costs us money. I've spoken with the head of the services at our senior center, and she's told me already that she's not applying for grants because she knows we will not get them. I've seen my hometown of Tewksbury. They've been told that they're not getting money for their education. It's going to cost them $1 million. In Winthrop, I looked this up today. The cost is close to $1 million in Winthrop. This does not keep us free. Our elected officials have listened to us when we voted to say that we did not want to approve this. They listened. They worked very, very, very hard to come up with a district which would harm the town the least, that would, yes, keep us rural. They've come up with an area where even if it's developed, we're not going to be affected. It's very difficult, as you have just heard from our selectmen, it would be very difficult for them to build anything there. We are keeping our town rural, but we need to keep our services. There are only 12 towns in the entire state that have not voted to accept this rule. And one of the reasons is they are realizing how expensive this is. Milton has spent $1 million when they came back. They are now in compliance. We want to maintain control of where we want this building. We're not saying anything about anything happening yet. We're just changing the zoning so that we are not punished. Please, please, vote with your heads, not with emotion. Please, vote to support our town. Care about our children, care about our senior citizens, care about the people in this town that cannot afford one more penny in taxes. Please vote yes today.
Adolph Apponequet, East Freetown, Mass. I've got a question, probably a legal question. Now, can a state, if they don't approve of this zoning area, can they come back and twist our arms and make us say, ow?
I don't need legal. I can answer that. Yes. The state is adamant on this zoning, right? And they've assured us, well, they're not assured us, but they keep saying this is a zoning only. No building needs to be built. Well, with our zoning, we test that theory to the max. But they're not going to give up. We say no, they'll be knocking on our door tomorrow or emailing us and whatnot. I'm sure Joe, or Mark, I'm sorry. Go ahead, jump in.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Moderator. You know, can they make us say ouch? They're already doing that. But to the specific question, the district that has already, the overlay district that has already been proposed is at least initially compliant. I believe there was pre-approval through EOHLC. So the state has already reviewed what the town is putting forward, and by all indicators, that if the town approves that, then it moves through the process, and it will be deemed compliant. So you're already in a very good position with respect to what's being proposed tonight. Whether there be any tweaks, obviously this is a new process, but that's not what's been happening. Generally, once you have that pre-approval, then that's the zone approved. Once approved by town meeting, that's compliance, and then you go through this. There's a subsequent process to ensure implementation, but. The zone you have right now has already been reviewed by the state, the zoning that's before you tonight.
So they do have say, and no, that's not a good spot.
Yes.
You put it over here.
Well, they will work with the town during the planning process, working through your planner and your planning board to make sure, because obviously if we go through this whole process and propose a zone that is not compliant, then we've kind of wasted your time and effort and to wind up with a non-compliance. So that's why the towns work prior to coming to town meeting to make sure that they have a compliant zone. So what you have right now is a compliant zone in accordance with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and that's what moves forward.
But they can change the rules anytime they want. And come
Well,
back
I
and
mean, they are the state. They can do what they want to do. But I don't think that's something we need to be worried about tonight. That's very much hypothetical.
So if they wanted to move this zoning somewhere else in town, will there be a meeting for that?
That's not before us. What was before you right now is this zone. This has been pre-approved by EOHLC, and this is what's moving forward.
Over things that could happen.
No, we're not going over things that could.
Funding, and we could do this, and we could do that.
We're not going over things that could happen. We're going over things that have already happened. The planning board has held its public hearings and has recommended this zone. This is the zone that's before the town right now. So this is what would happen if you approve this. You will be in compliance with the statute, and that will proceed.
And that will be on this zone only. Correct.
That's the zoning that you're voting on tonight.
If I may. So during the process, because of the last vote, the state provided us a grant to work with Bowler, right? Bowler went out, we all of us sat in a room multiple times to see where the best area would be for less impact to the town, knowing very well that the town does not find this to be a popular vote. We get it, right? We don't disagree with you. But at the same time, we still have to move forward and be in compliance. So working with Bowler, we went through all the state GIS mapping. We found land that, for some reason, previous times we never saw. We took that opportunity to go with Bowler. They reached out to the state to make sure that the areas we identified were legal areas to move forward with. They came back and said yes. So all the preliminary information that's been put out there has been done by us and approved by Bowler and the state. So if this moves forward with a yes, that's where it stays. Again, it's already 8-1 with the current overlay district, which is adding 8 more on top of that. I'm not saying that's great. I'm not saying it's bad, right? What I'm saying is, looking at the options based on what we had before until today, this is the best map we have to date. It truly is. All right? All right, I got more people up here.
Courtney?
Oh, go for it.
Oh, all right.
Sure.
I know. I'm gonna... All right, Chad Cavallo, Chairman of the Planning Board. As you guys know, last year the Planning Board did not recommend this article. So when we went to the table for this vote, we thought last year's thing was easy, buildable area, so we did not recommend it. We went and we first looked and said, well, what's the problem area of town? And one of our members said, let's zone it right on top of XL. So we're coming to you now, and we zoned it on top of XL and between the highway and railroad tracks. The chances, I can't tell you the chances of this being built. I can't say there's a 0 chance of this being built, but it's not a desirable area to build this. They're not going to want to come in here and buy out XL or build condos around XL or whatever. They're also not going to want to pay to go through train tracks and highway. That's where this is the best scenario that we came up with. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to vote yes. That's you guys vote the way you want to vote. But I think this is the best we're going to get.
So what I'm going to do is the next 3 people in line, I'm just going to nope, Courtney, you're the first. It's okay. You look scared when I said the next 3. They're just the next 3 right in a row so that we can get the line moving along. Sure. Go ahead.
Courtney Brightman, Assonet. I have a question. If we pass this tonight and the land remains undeveloped and a year from now the law gets repealed, are we also able to repeal the overlay?
Getting the nod from the attorneys. Double nod right now, yes.
That was something I was going to mention too. I did hear rumors if the governor changes or anything like that and this law gets repealed, we will be back here within a week to repeal our bylaw.
30 days.
I can guarantee you that. 30 days. There you go.
35. Sorry. Great question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lex Johansson, and I'm a 20-year-old college student from Assonet. It's nice to see so many familiar faces, though I'm sure that we're not happy to be here for the exact same reason. We voted again and again repeatedly on the exact same topic, and I'm sure we're all tired of it. Though I'd like to talk a bit today and remind everyone about some serious concerns that will not only affect the older generations, but also people around my age, younger or older. The zoning proposition will require at least 750 units, 750 families moving into our town. Regardless of who those people will be, their race, religion, backgrounds, none of that matters, since everyone is welcome in Assonet. And I'm a very left-minded individual, though the problem me and a lot of people like me are facing is our general way of life. Assonet is a rural town, about 4,500 people roughly. We have wide fields, quiet roads, and know all our neighbors. Apponequet Regional High School can hold less than 1,000 students comfortably. If every one of those units had a child or 2, it could easily exceed the amount of students the school could physically hold. The state wants to threaten people with fines and removal of grants if we don't comply with their demands, but how much money do you think it would require to fund a new high school? It already costs around $16,500 per student annually. BP was just rebuilt, and you want to guess how much that was? It was $305 million, roughly $180 million on the taxpayers of 7 different district members. We are simply two districts, Freetown and Lakeville. How much more money do you think it will cost you to fund our police, fire, and emergency services to protect these new individuals? How much pressure do you think it would put on our government and town workers each and every week to file paperwork, complete meetings, and integrate each and every one of those people into our town? I've said it once and I'll say it again. Assonet does not have a hospital, Assonet does not have a grocery store, Assonet does not have public transportation, and Assonet does not have the space. Regardless if it could be accessible or low-income housing, that is not a guarantee. And regardless of the desirability of the land, it would still be up for grabs. Anyone could pick up the land and build on it however they want to. We are tired of feeling pressured, and I'm tired of being scared of my financial future. Do not let them scare you with the fines. The amount of money that we would be paying, the amount of money me and my friends would be paying if we decided to stay in Assonet would be too much to handle, regardless of how much financial pressure we in the newer generations are already facing. And it wouldn't stop after our dues had been paid. If you want to care about our children, think about how much money they'll be paying if they want to stay. Think about my generation and how we would continue to pay for this decision for years to come, and it would eventually price us all out. Please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Listen, a lot of the things she said, she's not exactly wrong, right? So as a town stays the same size, right, and insurance premiums go up, salaries going up, there's only 9,000 of us in town paying for all these bills. At some point, for people that work in town, to include our school district, to get those raises, right, that they've earned and deserved over the years, we do need more people. Again, the good, the bad, the ugly of the conversation. That's the facts, right? 9,000 people can't keep affording the things to come, right? Is that a scare tactic? No, it's just a fact, right? But again, it's part of the conversation. It's not a popular one, but it's truth. So let's keep that in mind.
John Virella, East Freetown. This is just a quick question. So we talked about grants, and I'm disappointed to see us not getting grants because grant money is our money. So every time another community gets grant money and we don't, they're getting our money. But the question I have is, has there been any discussion about state aid? Right now, we're estimated to get $1.8 million in state aid from municipal government and another $16 million for the schools. Has the state given any indication that they may withhold some or all of that money?
The golden question. I wish they did. Right now, again, the information we have is very little. Technically, we're still in compliance. We're not being sued. We're not in any litigation at the moment. So we don't know what the options the AG has. They've been keeping their cards close to the chest, right? Because there's 10 other communities, potentially 12, that are in the same boat as us. So they're not going to give the information out so that we can sit there and try and plan ahead of time. But can they? Yes. Should they? Obviously, no. But we won't know until we vote yes or no today. And hopefully it's a no. As far as them taking away our aid in any scenario, but there's no guarantee in that. All we know for now is grants that are on their list. There's an entire, if you need it, we can post it on our website, that's fine. And there's also fines that a court can impose. Again, we won't know until we're in that scenario. It's an ugly situation to be in, I understand that. But it's still the truth. There you go, sir.
Thank you. Robert Poria, Assonet. Have we ever been given the opportunity to say, keep your train rolling, don't stop here?
You're talking to the right guy, sir. Talking to the right guy. Answer is no. We were not given a vote to get the train in town. We were not given a vote to build a train station in town. I will give the state some credit, a little credit, that they've tried to do their best to keep the MBTA train itself away from the MBTA Communities Act. Us as Freetowners, we see past that in so many ways. It's here in town. We hear it, we see it, we feel it. So to us, it's very much the same. And I get that. But as of right now, no. It's unfortunately the state, like our attorney has said, they're going to do what they're going to do. Our job's to try to play chess with the state and try to see what we can do in the future. So instead of playing checkers with them, we're playing chess and getting ahead of it. Again, can somebody jump in there and buy some land and build some property? Sure. You're going to have a lot of hurdles. Good luck.
Hi. Good to be back. Hi, I'm still Melissa Ross, and I'm still from Assonet. And I came up here before and I asked a question about grant money, and it was specifically because I know that there is a grant right now that is on the table that we've been approved for that will be rescinded if this vote doesn't pass. And as a young person in this town with little kids and a person who has watched her now aging parents go through retirement and elderly needs, I also look at the elderly of this community. And what is in the works is a new library and a council on aging. And those two municipal buildings are so important to our community and so expensive. And there is a grant there that the state is giving us, and we will lose that. We have a one-room library. We lose thousands of people to neighboring libraries in our town because we don't have the facilities. We have to cram into police department specialty rooms to have meetings. This building would provide so many services that the elderly and aging in our communities need. We talk about the taxes that are going to be put on them. Well, who's going to help people sort all of that out when they get to retirement ages? These facilities are needed for our community, and we're going to lose them.
Well, since you brought it up, let's talk about that grant really quick regarding the community, the Council of Aging Library. Over the past few cycles here at town meeting, Freetown residents have voted yes to pursue the grant that she is speaking of, right? And we have done just that. Over the past few years, we've had a joint committee with the Council of Aging and Library to get a building put up for our seniors and for our students, for our families, okay? And we've bought the land for it just recently. We've all approved it. Okay, and now the next step is to continue forward, and we're waiting to hear now from SHMBLC, the library grant folks. Forget their name, sorry. Go ahead and edit that for me, thank you. But that would be a grant that would more likely be on a chopping block if this goes down. So right now they're paying, I would say, around $6 to $8 million at the end of the day from a grant, federal grant through the state. So that is a consideration, and the idea for the Council of Aging is to give them the area they can grow into. As far as our library, same thing, and then in an area with an auditorium similar to where we are now, so we can have our town elections in Freetown, not in Lakeville, and keep it out of the school systems. So there's a win in there for every single demographic in town. It truly is a beautiful building going up. So thank you for reminding me of that.
I had a motion and a second to call the vote. As you know, the motion to call the question, call the vote, is to end debate and immediately proceed to the original vote. Out of respect for the two people who are in line, I'm going to ask if they have quick comments, please go ahead, and then we'll take no one else in line, and we'll take that vote at that time.
Yeah, my name is Jeff Morris from Assonet. This is for the town attorney. Sir, is there any reason that we should assume that we will prevail if we vote no and then are a member of this lawsuit being brought by the state?
Quick answer, no.
So not prevailing, losing to the state, we will then have to have this overlay that either we and our town members have worked so hard to put together, or someone outside will come in and say, this is your overlay. I mean, that's a possibility. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, quick answer to that, if I may. We're hearing two things, actually three things. One having to do with the grants. There's already a list of grants, and every grant that comes from the state can be conditioned upon compliance. So that's already ongoing. With respect to somebody buying property and developing, obviously that's something we don't know. This is a zoning article. This is not to approve a specific project. But with respect to the ultimate outcome, again, the state, the Attorney General is looking at this extremely closely. The legislature has determined the need for multifamily housing. We would not have anticipated that the Attorney General would proceed so quickly with litigation if the Attorney General is not bent on compliance. And we've heard that over and over every time these matters have come up to a vote before any town meeting. So right now, we don't know what the Attorney General is going to do. The tip of the spear is the grants. But further back, we certainly would anticipate they will find some way to bring the town into compliance. If it can't be done through a judicial decree, whether it will result in further amendments to the law, we just don't know. But obviously, the goal is ultimate compliance. As with the Milton case that's been discussed so extensively, and went all the way up to the Supreme Judicial Court, that has indicated that the law is constitutional and enforceable. And now it's just a matter of how it's going to be enforced. But at the end of the day, as has already been indicated, 12 towns have not achieved compliance, and Freetown is one of them. I fully anticipate that if it's not voted tonight, we will be in litigation very quickly with the Attorney General, and the likelihood of prevailing on the merits of that case is it's very unlikely given the arsenal of tools in their toolbox. We, just as the Board of Selectmen can't control you, as the town's legislative body, the legislature itself controls these circumstances. And if there is not a judicial mechanism, we would anticipate there would be a legislative mechanism. But ultimately, the idea is, does the town want to control its destiny in determining where to locate this, or does the town want to have this implemented by either some form of judicial decree or legislative action?
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. So it's just a matter of not if, it's a matter of when and who does it.
How much? And how much?
And how much is going to cost us all.
Right.
Hi, Kathy Kenny is Sonnet, and I need the help of the planning board for this commission because, I just thought of it. There are housing developments, I believe, called 40Bs, okay, that come in and they don't have to follow bylaws whatsoever. Can they go into those zones?
So this is a 48.
Yeah. Because you keep saying that they would have to follow the bylaws. Can 40Bs come in?
This bylaw does not include 40Bs in the original law. The state did not include affordable housing. And so I don't think we could pass, and legal counsel can double check me on that, but I don't think it was a component that they would have approved, and so we just left it out. So there would be no affordable component. There would be market rate.
Okay. Thank you.
Council's saying yes. So we'll now take the vote on calling the question. So this again, the motion to call the question is to end all debate and proceed to the original motion that was made. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye. Okay, the majority has voted to call the question. So we know. I'm sorry. Yeah, so that was a 2/3 vote. That was more than 2/3 to call the question. So the original question that is before us is whether or not to approve this as submitted. Is there, no, I'm sorry, we already did that part. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? So in my estimation, the majority voted yes. Is there anyone who questions the result of the count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is enough to trigger a hand count. Did we run out of the white tickets? Yeah, we did. We ran out of the white tickets also? Okay. No, are there any voters who did not receive a white ticket? Actual vote? Yikes. Wow, okay. So we can go back to the old version, which is to do hand counts. The alternative that you have available, but it requires a vote to trigger this, is some of you who have come to town meeting for a long time may remember that we used to have yes and no ballots. That's an option that you have also. So what happens with the yes and no ballot, it sounds worse than it is. You have to check in a second time. You're handed an actual ballot when you check in this time. And there are enough of those. So those are the two options we have, is to count by show of hands. Hand count it is. Okay, do we have any tellers who have been checked in?
Tim and Myrna.
Tim and Myrna, okay. Paul, you've changed. All right, so if you are, now this came up the last time we did this. If you are voting, right now you need to be in the auditorium and not moving. So we'll give everybody about 5 seconds, but if anybody's in the hallway, they're going to be out of luck. There shouldn't be anybody, only the first 2 rows there are the non-voters. Everybody else there is voters. Cheryl's dividing and conquering right now. Is somebody doing the stage, or I'll do the stage? I'll do the stage. Okay. All in favor, please raise your hand at this time. If you have the white ticket, go ahead. If not, just a hand is fine. Well, that was easy. 0 on the stage. Is he getting the lighting booth too? No, there's people voting up there though.
That's all his side. I thought you meant your lighting.
Oh, no.
That one right there?
Yeah, that one's harsh.
That's harsh.
And then Matt, that second one down all the way over on the left, Matt was trying to figure out how to take that out with a slingshot or something like that.
We want no violence.
No. Oh. Were you yes or no? Yes. Oh, okay. All right. $75.
You're all set. That one's all set. That one's all set, Myrna. It's 2:30. It's 2:30.
Okay. Okay, yeses, if you still have your hands up, you can put them down. And everybody take a deep breath. And noes, please raise your hand at this time if you are a no. No, it's harsh. It's tough. Okay. What do you got? 29 and 20. Okay. As a reminder, this required a majority vote. The total number of yeses was 157. The total number of noes was 50. So the article is adopted by the majority. I heard the motion to reconsider. Where did the motion come from, though? Okay. And those who are motioning and seconding to reconsider, you voted yes a moment ago? No. So you have to be on the winning side to do the motion to reconsider. What I think is happening right now, because this happened at the last meeting, if we take a vote to reconsider right now and it doesn't change, That ends this for tonight. There's no possibility of somebody bringing it up again later. So I think that's what's happening right now is an attempt at a procedural move. And that's for the folks who want to go home. So hearing nobody else, nobody from the prevailing side is saying they want to reconsider, we'll move on. I can't, somebody's saying they voted yes, but I can't see who it is. We rely on honesty. Honestly, we do. So most of the folks who just tried to reconsider said they voted no, so we'll take them at their word. Okay. Article 18. To see if the town will vote to amend the town's general bylaws, Chapter 43, Section 43-2N, by deleting the text in its entirety and inserting in place thereof the text set forth below and/or take any action relative thereto. The Board of Selectmen shall be authorized to dispose of tangible surplus supplies owned by the town pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30B, the Uniform Procurement Act. This was submitted by the town administrator. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 18 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 18? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Article 18 is adopted unanimously. Article 19. To see if the town will vote to approve the relocated and altered layouts of North Main Street, South Main Street, Water Street, and Elm Street as public ways, as heretofore relocated and/or altered by the Board of Selectmen and shown on a plan entitled Four Corners, North Main Street, South Main Street, Water Street, and Elm Street, Freetown, Massachusetts, dated July 30th, 2025, prepared by Merrill Engineering and Land Surveyors, a copy of which is on file with the town clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, purchase, or eminent domain the fee to and/or easements in the roadways for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Freetown, and any drainage, utility, access, and/or other easements related thereto, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. Is it a majority vote? Okay, requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt as read. Is there any discussion on Article 19? Yep, come on down to the microphone, please. Yes.
Hi, Christine Johansson, a Sonnet. I have a question about this. Is this regarding potentially changing Four Corners to be a rotary or street signs or street lights?
Defer to Deb. She went right for the microphone.
So it began that way, yes, and that we're looking at trying to do improvements to that intersection. But that intersection has never been accepted by the town as a public way. So before we can do anything to the public way, we need to know where the public way exists. We hired the engineers to survey the property, and unfortunately, there really were no delineated property lines. So this article basically accepts the roadway as it's laid out today, so that then we can move forward and look at impacts that putting a roundabout or something there might have on the property that's currently there. But this is step one, to accept the roadway as it is, as you see it today.
Okay, I'm gonna put my vote in for no right now for a roundabout or a stop sign
Yeah,
or a stop.
that's not before you, but.
Well, I'm just being proactive.
Hi, Adolph Osnekovich, East Freetown.
Sure.
Asks, is this going to be helped by the state, seeing that it is a state highway that runs through the center of town?
My understanding would be no.
You can confiscate a road from the state.
No, it's not. There's a part of it for the state, there's a part of it that the town belongs to the town. We have no records that it belongs to the town.
Oh,
This is just,
well, let's grab it.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a state number road, but.
Is there any further discussion on Article 19? Hearing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Article 19, we will grab it unanimously. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to accept the layouts of the roadways known as Fallbrook Lane and Algonquin Way as public ways as heretofore laid out by the Board of Selectmen and shown on the plan entitled Fallbrook Residential Subdivision Street As-Built Plans in the Town of Freetown, prepared by W Engineering, LLC, dated July 28, 2025, a copy of which is on file with the town clerk, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire on behalf of the town by gift, purchase, or eminent domain the fee and/or easements in said Fallbrook Lane and Algonquin Way for all purposes for which public ways are used in the town of Freetown, and any drainage, utility, access, and/or other easements related thereto, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article, and because we're in a high school, I'm getting passed a note. Motion has been made and seconded to adopt Article 20 as read. The note is letting us know that both of those roads have a 50-foot layout, a 50-foot width layout, and that Fallbrook Lane is 881 feet long, and Algonquin Way is 675 feet long, the extension of Algonquin Way. Is there any discussion on Article 20? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 20 is adopted unanimously. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Assessors to enter into agreements for payments in lieu of taxes or pilot pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 45th, as amended by Section 61 of Chapter 8 of the Acts of 2021, on such terms and conditions and for a term of years as the Board of Assessors deems in the best interest of the town, with the owners of solar facilities located or to be located at 18 U.S. RV Way, Assonet, Assessors Map 214, Lot 104, and further to authorize the Board of Assessors to take any such action as may be necessary or convenient to carry out the vote taken hereunder and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Assessors. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 21 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 21? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 21 is adopted unanimously. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into an electricity bill agreement for the term of 20 years with two possible extension periods of 5 years each upon such terms and conditions as the Board of Selectmen determines to be in the best interest of the town and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee recommends this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 22. Is there any discussion on Article 22? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 22 is adopted unanimously. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to amend the Personnel Bylaws, Chapter 48, Personnel Classification and Compensation Plan, Section 48-8A, General Positions, by deleting therefrom the strike-through language and inserting in place thereof the bold language as shown below and/or take any action relative thereto. And as seen in your warrant, confidential secretary of the police department has been stricken, and in its place has been inserted administrative assistant of the police department. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 23 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 23? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 23 is adopted unanimously. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to amend the General Bylaws, Chapter 48, Personnel Classification and Compensation Plan, Section 48-8 Positions by adding the following position to the list of positions contained therein: Assistant Animal Control Officer, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Board of Selectmen. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 24 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 24? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 24 is adopted unanimously. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to amend the Freetown zoning bylaws by deleting the existing Section 300-5.11, regulating accessory apartments in its entirety, and inserting in place thereof a new Section 300-5.11, regulating accessory dwelling units, the text of which is on file in the office of the town clerk and the planning board, and/or take any action relative thereto. This was submitted by the Planning Board. It requires a majority vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. We will now hear from the Planning Board about this article. Just camp out over there for the next 3 or 4.
Good evening. Thank you very much. The accessory dwelling bylaw, as mentioned in the warrant, that a subcommittee was created. It was Kevin Damaris from the Board of Health, Nick Veloza, the ZBA chairman, Carl Bizarro, the building commissioner and zoning enforcement officer, as well as Chad, helped with the crafting of the accessory dwelling bylaw. This is really an opportunity to reasonably regulate. The state, on August 6th, 2024, Governor signed this into law, allowing ADUs to be built 900 square feet for every single-family residential zoned area. And in February 2nd, 2025, it became a law. So it is already currently active. People are already building accessory dwelling bylaws in, they're not building the bylaw, they're building the units within the community, and it's being very successful. This opportunity is replacing the accessory apartments and is recrafted to be readable so that you can easily access it, as well as offer some guidance throughout the process for yourselves as well. So that's basically the premise of it. Yep.
Also, I want to add that currently, well, what we're doing is replacing pretty much the in-law apartment bylaw. If we vote no on it today, that means you can have an accessory building and an in-law apartment. So we're trying to change the bylaw so we can just have one accessory building on a property. Again, a no vote, nothing would change that we have now. Currently, before this meeting, you could go to the building department and get an in-law apartment and an accessory building because of the new state law. So we're trying to restrict that and just go by the state law, which would be an accessory dwelling unit, and get rid of the in-law apartment. Again, a no vote means you're allowing people to have 2 on their property.
And the Planning Board recommends passing this.
The planning board does recommend passing.
All right. Is there a motion on Article 25? Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 25 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 25? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, the majority has adopted Article 25, so Article 25 has passed. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to amend the Freetown zoning bylaws, Section 300-5.1 Table of Use Regulations by deleting the text shown in strike-through as follows, and/or take any action relative thereto. And as you can see, the accessory apartment line has been stricken in its entirety. This was submitted by the Planning Board. This requires a 2/3 vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. Once again, we will hear from the Planning Board.
So this article is going to go with the last one. We're just cleaning up the language in it.
Nope, we're still looking.
The planning board recommends.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion on Article 26? Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 26 as read. Is there any discussion on Article 26? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 26 is adopted unanimously. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to amend the Freetown zoning bylaws, Section 300-1.4 definitions and word use by deleting the language shown in strike-through as follows, and/or take any action relative thereto. And as you can see, the definition of accessory apartment has been stricken in its entirety. This was submitted by the Planning Board. It requires a majority, a 2/3 vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article. We will again hear from the Planning Board.
The planning board recommends, and this along goes with the same bylaw, we're cleaning up the language.
Okay, is there a motion on Article 27? A motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 27 as read. Is there any further discussion on Article 27? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 27 is adopted unanimously. Article 28. To see if the town will vote to amend the Freetown zoning bylaw, Section 300-6.1G setback requirements by deleting the language shown in strike-through and inserting the language shown in bold and italics as follows, and/or take any action relative thereto. And as shown in the table, it is proposed that the threshold for regulating residential accessory structures be dropped from 300 square feet to 200 square feet, and further that at the 200 square foot level, the side and rear setbacks be increased from 10 to 20 feet. This was submitted by the Planning Board. It requires a 2/3 vote. The Finance Committee takes no position on this article, and once more, the Planning Board.
The Planning Board recommends. This one is actually, makes it more restrictive, which we brought it down from 300 to 200 square foot. You would need 20 feet of setbacks on the side and rear instead of the 10 that's currently in the bylaw.
Motion is made and seconded to adopt Article 28 as read. Is there any further discussion on Article 28? Yes. Somebody's coming all the way from the back. Oh, two somebodies are coming from the back. Oh, no, just one. All right. I was afraid for a moment.
Brian Almeida, Sonnet. So I just want to make sure this doesn't just restrict ADUs, but it also restricts, like, say I want to put a shed on my property, or if I want to put a sauna on my property, something like that. You're taking what we used to be able to do down 100 square feet, and you're saying that it has to be further away from the side and rear of my property, not just ADUs. Is that?
So we're not, the setbacks for the, you can do something over the 200 square feet. We're just, if it's over 200 square feet, we're making the setbacks longer.
Yeah, so you're restricting anything that I want to do on my property, not just ADUs.
Correct.
Then I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on Article 28? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? I don't think that that passed the 2/3, but we'll count once again. I saw that only one hand. Do we have the count? All right. No, Tim's on his way. He's running down the aisle. Myrna was prepared. All right. All those who are in favor of Article 28, please raise your hand at this time. Tickets if you have them, hands if you don't. Stage people, any yeses? No, okay. 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 Okay, yeses can put their hands down. Noes, please. If you are a no, hands up. So when you do it in a visual sense, you can see that it's 2/3. While they're counting, I'd just like to thank everybody who has stuck it out to the end. Stage, anybody? I guess no. Okay. Oh my. Okay. Okay. The yeses are 19, the noes are 99. So Article 28 has been defeated. I'm sorry? All right. Which article? Which one? There was more than one of those. That is that 25? The in-law apartments. There were ultimately a couple of those because 25 eliminated them, 26 and 27 then got rid of the definitions of them. So did you vote yes on Article 25? You voted yes and you're asking for the reconsideration. I'm hearing you also have to have voted yes to second it. All right. Plenty enough. So that is Article 25. The motion before us right now is to reconsider Article 25. All in favor? All opposed? I'm going to do this just by visual. If you're a yes, please raise your hand. This is the reconsideration question. Yeses, hands. Okay, hands down, please. Noes. Oh my, it's from up here, it's almost even. I really apologize, but we're going to have to count this. We're going to have to count this question as well. This is whether or not to reconsider that article. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So this is, the question right now is only on reconsidering. If you are in favor of reconsidering, please raise your hand. So this is reconsidering. Okay, hands down. No to reconsidering. This is no to reconsidering. It is still close. I appreciate, but I think we're still going to have to count. I'll tell you, I think the answer was no, but it is close enough that I don't want to take away anybody's voting if it was yes. So hands up, please, for reconsidering. This is yes for reconsidering. Hands up. This is just reconsidering, not the article itself. And me, so. All right, yeses can put their hands down. Noes, please. And this again is just for reconsidering. No. Nobody's raising their hands. You're a no? Okay. Okay. The yeses were 44, the noes were 64. The motion to reconsider is defeated. You're all very excited to go home right now. Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? We're all slightly offended. No. One no. One person is having a good time. Thank you again for coming out tonight. We appreciate those of you who have stayed till the end. Have a good night and drive safely, please. Oh, yes, and don't forget to return the clickers if you got one. Cheryl knows where you live.